Okay, so today we're going to discuss about the Trematodes. So before that one, okay, we have here the phylum Platyhelminthes. So these are primarily made up of the class. We have here the Trematodes, which are your flukes, and we have also here the Sessos, which are your tapeworm. For this topic, we'll be discussing first the Trematodes or the flukes. Okay, we have here the class Trematoda. So basically, we have here the general characteristics. Number one, this is belonging to your platyhelminthes, meaning to say these are the flat worms. So we're talking about the adult worms. Their body is flat, and basically they are bilaterally symmetrical excretory system where their capillaries try to terminate in a specialized cells. You call that one as your flame cell or your solenocytes. So it's being called here flame cells because this made up of cilia, is a vibratile cilia which try to beat in unison. So at the same time, giving here a characteristic na flickering candle or flame appearance, making that one as your flame cells. Another one, we have here the characteristics of your trematodes or flukes. Okay, they don't have here the circulatory system, they don't have the vascular system, and they don't also have here the alimentary system or the digestive tract. They have an incomplete digestive tract system. For their sex here, so we can classify that one as either dioecious. So when we speak about dioecious, so mean to say they have a separate adult male compared, they have a separate adult male and they have also a separate na female adult worm. And that's only applicable here with your schistosomes. For the rest of your trepanodes or flukes here, they are considered to be monoecious. So, kaiba lang ang schistosomes natin because that one is dioecious. Others are monoecious, or meaning to say they are hermaphrodite, where the adult worm try to house here both the male and female reproductive organ. Okay, in the case of your schistosome here, wherein they have a separate body plan for the male and a female adult worm. So again, the rule here again is the female worms will always appear to be much larger compared to the male worms. Okay, so we have here the different genus of your flukes here. So we have your blood flukes here. So that includes your schistosomes. We have also here the intestinal fluke. That includes the genus Fasciolopsis. We have also here the Echinostoma, and we have also here the Heterophyes. Lung fluke is your Paragonimus, and we have here the liver and the bowel fluke includes your Fasciola, Opistorchis, and we have also here the Clonorchis. Pag sinabi natin na speak about this one, blood, liver, lung fluke, we're talking about it is where you are expecting their adult worm to try to inhabit. Meaning to say, like, for example, this one is a lung fluke, meaning to say the adult worm try to inhabit here our lungs and try to infect our lungs. The same way with the others here. Okay, then we have here the general characteristics of your Trepanodes. Number one, we have here all have a mouth or the oral sucker, and we have also here the ventral sucker, or you call it once your acetabulum. Okay, they are different. They are located from different part. They are separated from one another. Ang kanilang oral and their ventral suckers. Another one, all have a flat and a leaf-like adult worm structure except your schistosomes. All have operculated ova except your schistosomes. Pag sinabing operculated, so like for example, this one, it would have here the operculum or simply parang lid, parang cover. Okay, except your schistosomes wherein wala siyang operculum. Then all are monoecious except your schistosomes. And we have here the infective stage. All would have the metacercarias infective stage except your schistosomes. Okay, and all would have here two intermediate hosts except your schistosomes would have only one intermediate host. That's why, since your schistosomes has only one intermediate host, that's why its infective stage is Cercaria. But if you have two intermediate hosts here, so ang life cycle niya constitutes here the Cercaria saka Metacercaria. And therefore, pag dalawa ang kanilang intermediate host, then automatic na ang kanyang infective stage would be the Metacercaria. And basically, all the first intermediate hosts would always be the snail. So just in the case of your schistosome, since that one would only have one intermediate host, its intermediate host will be a snail. But for those trematodes having two intermediate hosts, their first intermediate host will be a snail. And their second intermediate host will just vary na lang. Okay, again, we have here the difference between your schistosomes compared with other trematodes. So again, your schistosome could be found here in the bloodstream because again, this is your blood trematodes. So the other could not be found here in the bloodstream, but they're found in other body parts like your lungs or liver. Okay, again, the trematodes dioecious. We have here, I'm going to say they have separate na male and female adult worm. This one would have here monoecious, and they have only here one adult worm. Where um, try to cover up here both, or try to house here both the male and the female reproductive organ. So both of them would have oral and ventral suckers. Again, the infected stage for your schistosomes here would be your cercaria, and you get infected by that through your skin penetration. Whereas other trematodes, their infected stage is metacercaria, and they have two intermediate hosts, and you get infected by metacercaria by ingestion of the metacercaria. Okay, now we go to the stages of the development of your flukes or your trematodes. So first we have here the egg or the ova. So we classify the egg and or the ova here as, again, all your trematodes would have operculated ova except your schistosomes. Okay, so we classify the egg or ova here as mature, embryonated, segmented. And to say they have already, those are the egg wherein inside meron na siyang larva in the form of your miracidium, where upon voiding in the water, in the bodies of water, they go to the body of the water, we try to hatch, immediately try to release here the miracidium inside. Okay, that's includes here, so that's applicable here for the following. Genus here, we have Schistosomes, Clonorchis, Opistorchis, and we have also Heterophyes. On the other hand, other genus here, their eggs are not yet embryonated, unsegmented, or immature upon oviposition. So once they are released in the, or they are shed in the feces, go to the water, and they take here several time for them to embryonate in order for them to produce here the miracidium. So this includes here the genus Paragonimus, Fasciola, Fasciolopsis, and we have also here the Echinostoma. Okay, the next we have here the larval stage. The first larval stage, we have here the miracidium. So ito yung nasa loob ng ating ova. So upon contacting with the water, bodies of water, they try to hatch and try to liberate the egg hatch and try to liberate here the miracidium. We describe miracidium. Okay, yeah, drawing, never mind. Just refer to your PowerPoint for much better in the drawing. Okay, for the miracidium, so again, this one would have the entire body is covered with a cilia, and the cilia here is their mode of their locomotion that will enable them to swim in the water. Then they have a very simple eyes, and they try to use here chemical mechanical receptor in order for them to find here suitable snail hosts. Okay, then they able to enter the body of the snail by using here penetration gland or proteolytic enzymes. So para mag-penetrate proteolytic enzymes in order for them to enter the body of your snail. Okay, next, we have here the next larval stage. We have here the sporocyst. So, as the miracidium try to penetrate inside of your snail, so once inside the snail, your miracidium try to develop here to become sporocyst. So, sporocyst looks like this one, pero hindi siya magandang drawing. Okay, so it would have here a very simple organ and develop here to a germinal mass, which eventually develop here to become your next stage na rhiza. Next, we have here the Rija. So it tried to, from this one, it tried to transform to this become Rija here. So the Rija would have almost a fully developed organs here that is already the same or equivalent with the adult worms. It would have here the oral sucker, the ventral sucker. Meron na rin siyang gastrointestinal tract, but that one is incomplete. And we have also here the birth pore, where it tried to shed here the cercaria. Okay, then after that one, the cercaria here, so this is your fork tail. So meron siyang fork tail. Okay, that would This one, try to be released out of your snail. So, lalabas na siya sa body ng snail. It try to swim in the water. Okay, so, if in the case of your schistosome, since sa kanya is only intermediate host niya is only one intermediate host, so this become here the infective stage. It try to penetrate the skin of the patient and try to infect the patient. So as it try to enter the skin of the patient, it try to detach or try to loss here is a fork tail, and as it try to enter the body of the host. But for some other trematodes, since they still have here the second intermediate host, this Acharya would try to find another second intermediate host. Again, the second intermediate host here could be another snail, it could be another fish, or it could also be a crab, or it could also be a water vegetation. So from there, they try to encyst, magiging cystic, although they have different morphology as this one. So again, from that Cercaria, they try to encyst, magiging cystic ulit sila, where they could be ingested here by your second intermediate host. Okay, and once this second intermediate host here will be ingested, or I mean, try to insist on the second intermediate host. So once this second intermediate host will be eaten by human or other mammals, so eventually they get infected by that. So the next stage, once inside the body of your definitive host, they try to develop here to become adult worm. Again, for the adult worm, so it vary here. So again, adult worm for the schistosomes, we have here separate na female worm and the male worm, but in other trematodes, they have only one na adult worm. Okay, so we're going to discuss first the genus Schitosomes. Okay, again, the genus Schitosomes here we have the adult male and the female would have a separate body plan. For the adult male, so we describe this one as robust, cylindrical, oval, and we have also here conical in shape. And that one would have shorter in length compared to the female. And the body is being folded here to form gynecophoral canal. So parang may canal siya dito where that gynecophoral canal is used here to hold female adult worms during the copulation, or actually can hold at least two female adult worms during the copulation. Okay, then we have also here the adult female worm. So this one is slender, medyo manipis siya, pero that one is longer compared to adult male worms. And this one try to lay here approximately 12 times, try to lay egg 12 times a day. And the ovary found here at the center. So basic part we have here, this is the medyo malaki dito. That's your adult mealworm. So it would have here the oral sucker here. We have the ventral sucker. Okay, the oral sucker and the ventral sucker being used, they try to use that one in order for them to attach to your mucosa. Could be intestinal mucosa or even your blood vessel. In the case of your schistosomes, so that's in your blood vessels or your venues. So here we have here the gynecopholar canal. We try to hold here. Ito yung granting na ito yung ating adult female worm, which is much darker compared to your adult male worm. So your adult male try to hold here the female and its gynecophoral canal during their copulation process. Okay, then we have here the life cycle of your schistosomes. Okay, so you get infected by schistosomes primarily by the Cercaria. This is the fork tail. So you get infected by skin penetration. As it try to penetrate the skin of the definitive host here, so the fork tail try to detach. As it try to enter your body, it become a tailless, wala siyang tail, and you call that one your schistosomiole. This schistosomiole try to penetrate your blood vessels, pupunta sa bloodstream natin yung blood vessels. Through that one, it try to migrate to other part of your body. Could go to your heart, could go also to your lungs. And eventually, their final habitat here will be found in the branches of your venues. So, ito yung mga veins natin, may mga branches. Okay, so dito sila magsistay. And after that one, they try to develop to become adult worm. So this one becomes here. So eventually this one tried to develop here to become adult worm, male and a female adult worm. And the male and female adult worm try to copulate. And after that one, the adult female worm here or the gravid or the pregnant na female adult worm will try to lay egg here on the terminal portion of your terminal branches of your venus. Then the egg here would able to penetrate going to gastrointestinal tract, pupunta sa gastrointestinal tract natin, or even in your urinary bladder. We have here the factors that would be responsible here for allowing the egg here from the blood vessels going to your gastrointestinal tract or even to your urinary bladder. So, pressing action of the spines of your egg. The second one, we have with the pressure in your venule. Another one, because of the lytic action of the enzymes. So, as you try to go here, primarily to your gastrointestinal tract or even the egg is being shed on your gastrointestinal tract or even in your urinary bladder. So, this being shed, lalabas siya. Pag nasa gastrointestinal tract ng ating egg, it could pass out through your feces or your stool. If that one is in your urinary bladder, it could pass out in your body through your urine. And remember that the egg of that is embryonated already or segmented or matured. So as the egg here is being passed out on those urine or even stool sample, it gain entry to body of water. So since embryonated siya or segmented, so the egg here, the water try to hatch readily in the water and bodies of water. Try to release here the miracidium. And again, miracidium is the ciliated na larva stage. And that one would able to swim in the body of the water. So once it's try to swim here, try to find a suitable intermediate host, which is a snail, and they try to penetrate that one. So once inside the body of the snail, this miracidium try to develop here to another larva stage, magiging sporocyst, magiging regia, and finally magiging cercaria. And after that one, the cercaria will be released out of the body of the snail. The cercaria, again, as a fork tail, will swim in the body of water. So if someone, for example, here is in contact with the body of water and there's a cercaria, the cercaria could penetrate the skin of the patient and eventually get infected by skin penetration of your cercaria. So ito ulit ang magiging life cycle niyan.